here we are, episode 4, right, Ish?
Yeah.
Episode 4, Did You Order? I'm your host, Al Ali. Down at the far end of the couch is my co-host, Ish Hussein.
What up, y'all?
And we have a very, very, very special guest today. I met this guy about a year ago, started doing a documentary on the skateboarding scene, and we've become good friends since. And he's here today to talk to us, Shreddie Mercury. Everybody give it up one time. Shreddie Mercury.
Welcome.
Local legend skateboarder. Ish, you were asking how we know each other. So I think my brother-in-law discovered you first, your Instagram. Okay. He saw your Instagram, and we do film and documentaries, and we were just like, you're good. It'll catch all your. Okay. The good thing about these mics. The good thing about these mics is like you don't have to move them at all. Okay. Like somehow Brandon is a magician and has that set up perfect for you. Yeah, but we met Shreddie about a year and a half ago. My brother-in-law discovered him on Instagram, and he was like, hey, we do film and documentary. We're looking for like our next project. And he was like, yo, this guy's kind of interesting. He's a skateboarder, but he does slalom skateboarding, which is, we'll get into that in a second. But I met you at that time, and we started filming, and there was a bunch of awesome footage, and we were going around meeting you at different skate parks. Mm-hmm. And we kind of lagged in completing the documentary. Life just happened. Brandon got busy. I got busy with work, and then our brother-in-law had a baby, and I feel like we kind of had a lull in finishing that doc. And then me and you still kept in contact. And then he was like, this past week, actually, about a week ago, you messaged me and you said, hey, I'm going for a world record.
Sick.
This Thursday or whatever. I'm starting at 5 a.m. Are you guys down to meet me there? And we're like, yeah, because in my mind too, I was like, this is the perfect cap on the documentary piece we were doing. This is legendary. You know what I mean? Like I think it's safe to say like you're a local legend at this point. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna put.
There's been a few people that have thrown that word around in regards to me, and I'm kind of like,
You're very humble. You're a modest guy.
That's just him being humble, man.
Yeah, you're a modest guy.
Because I thought you had to be dead to be a legend.
You're a living legend, bro.
Like one of the guys,
a living legend.
Like so near the pump track, there's like a restaurant. Shout out to Pump and Rye. I love that. It's a little spot, but it's super good food. All of the sandwiches have cool names, like the Funky Chicken. It's like
that's dope.
Very cool.
And what's it called?
It's called Pump and Rye.
And where they at?
Across the street from the Urbana pump track. Okay. So it's in Frederick. Okay. Off of like, what's the street there? It's like Road. Urbana Pike, something like that. But it's super rad. So shout out to Taylor. He's a skater. So I found out that Taylor worked at the restaurant. So I would go in, hey, is Taylor there? I would chat with him and stuff like that. And he told me, dude, because he saw me do one of my world record attempts. I was just kind of training.
I think we should explain what pumping is for skate, because like maybe some of our listeners might not know what. For sure. I mean, me and Ish know nothing about skateboarding. Yeah. Like we know a little bit, but the basics, right? Yeah. So like, can you explain to someone who doesn't know what pumping on a skateboard means?
Yeah. The best way I can describe it would be like using your legs to weight and unweight your body so that you're able to keep your momentum. So what I did was I jumped on my board to get going because I was trying to like not push at all and just use this pumping technique. So there's all these humps. So you have to pump to get over the humps, basically. So I have to get weightless to go up it, and then I get heavy going down, and then I just repeat that motion. So it's up, down, kind of like doing squats. Yeah. So I get weightless. So kind of like vert skating, if you want to go into the air, you kind of load your legs like a spring, and then you go weightless. So you can just boom, bunk off the coping and go into the air without having to ollie. Tony Hawk is like very famous for actually introducing the ollie off the ramp and going higher than everyone else. And at the time, this was so new that even the magazines would put in print, "You're cheating." They used to make fun of Tony Hawk because he was so far ahead of everyone else. They were kind of confused, and they were like, "What are you doing? Like, we don't do it like that." And now everyone does it like him. Now it's standard because
I think Tony Hawk is probably our like basis for skateboarding.
You know, to be honest with you, how I even picked up on any of this was the Tony Hawk video game. And
that changed the game.
That changed everything. That video game changed everything.
the soundtrack on that game,
that game
is
was fun.
amazing.
Yeah,
like
it's kind of funny. Like I did a demo with Montgomery Parks recently, and the DJ, he just was playing some random music, just like Skater Boy. He was a skater boy, and like all this stuff that was super cringe. I thought almost like, was he joking with this soundtrack, or what was going on here is making us look bad?
Yeah.
And so I came over to him like, yo, dude, if anything, just Google or whatever on Spotify, whatever you're on, just type in Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack,
Yes.
and we're good.
Oh my gosh!
Have
you ever met Tony Hawk?
I have. So this is kind of like my. I feel like I'm bragging when I say this, but I've got to actually skate his personal half pipe.
Oh,
I
nice.
dropped in on it. I don't skate vert, but at least I dropped in on it. It's a 13.5 foot half pipe, which is huge. It's like a little bit bigger than like the normal, which is like 12 foot. It goes all the way to vertical. So I got to skate the bird's nest, the Hawk ramp, and then got to meet him. And he follows me back on Instagram.
That's cool.
Oh,
so that's
cool.
kind of like, I always say that, and then right after I'm like, watch this guy just unfollow me tonight, and then I'm gonna be like, oh cool. No. But that's a cool thing to say, like, because that's not the first time that someone's asked me, like, oh, I mentioned skateboarding, and then Tony Hawk is like the Michael Jordan of the sport.
Yeah.
And so I can say, yeah, I met him. I
cool.
can DM
That's
him,
sick.
and usually he writes back to me. But he's an awesome ambassador for skateboarding because he's always kept it clean cut. He's made us look good. He hasn't like really done anything.
There's no scandals with him.
That's true.
Like that.
It was dope part about him. I still see him out there, and he's still with the kids, and he's still doing those things.
Yeah, I see him on podcasts all the time. He's killing it.
He has his own podcast.
So back to the pumping. Sorry, we go on a lot of tangents on this show because it's so conversational. But I want to know, because I was there.
Yeah.
I was there at 5 a.m.
watching that shit.
watching Shreddie get ready to pump on the skateboard for 5 hours. Me, Brandon, our producer, and my brother-in-law. 5.5. Yeah, let me not shortchange
which is way
you.
more than I wanted to. My goal was like 4.5.
Well, the distance that you wanted to complete was 50 miles.
Yes, correct.
50 miles on a skateboard. And if you guys haven't figured it out by this time, he doesn't put his feet on the ground.
There's no kicking. You're right.
There's no
foot.
He doesn't put his foot down and use the ground. He jumps on the skateboard and he uses momentum to take him around this track for 5.5 hours. So the sun was down when we got there.
That's crazy.
He starts in the darkness of the night under the rare blue moon.
Super moon.
Blue super moon.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking sick.
And he just starts going. And 5.5 hours later, I mean, we were getting footage the whole time. Joe Wallace.
Yeah, Joe
That's
Skull.
your boy.
At Joe Skull.
At Joe Skull.
Follow him.
Such a cool dude. So who is he to you?
He's a friend.
Yeah.
And, thanks to Instagram, Instagram and social media it's a gift and a curse. It could be like, oh, you get stuck on it. You're just looking at stupid memes. You're in that death scroll.
Oh God, I hate myself
like,
for that.
What's going? Your hand's
you
going.
Look up, you kill 25 minutes. Like, how the hell?
Your hand. I have to stop. I get stuck on it sometimes too, and I'm like, my hand is numb. What's going on here? Like, I got to put this thing away.
Yeah.
But in the good way, it can connect the world.
Yeah,
and in the skateboard world, it's kind of small. So when I first met Joe at the Urbana skate park, I saw him, and I connect with the older skaters more because I love the history of skating, and I'm always listening to the podcast. So all of this old information is fresh in my head. I've talked to guys that are like 50, 60. I'm 36. I'll be 37. In a few months.
Oh, we're all the same age.
So I think I look younger. I had the mustache to look older, but still people are like, "Oh, you're 25," and I'm like, "No, thank you, but I'm 30."
No, you look great for 36.
Thank you, and I thank skateboarding.
We look terrible. We're the same age, and you look 10 years younger than us. But anyway,
but part of it, skateboarding keeps you, engaged with something. You're
active. You're definitely super
active, and I'm always looking for something new, and it's my thing. And I feel like in order to have a long life, you have to have some kind of passion.
Yeah, man.
Whether
absolutely.
it be knitting but it's something better. It will be physical, but you gotta just have something, preferably that gets you outside.
Well, speaking to that, like the physical aspect of it, that is where that is where you get the bulk of your activity from, I'm guessing, you know what I mean? Skateboarding. So like you staying fit in that like just talking in terms of athleticism, right? That's one aspect of you doing this 50 miles, which is why we're trying to reach out to Under Armour or at least get their attention, right? Like, can you speak to that? Like the athletic aspect of skateboarding that you wanted to kind of bridge with Under Armour?
Interrupt, but speaking of athletic, I'm about to crack this. Can you
athletic. All right, yeah. Before we talk about that, let's talk about this. What did you give us? What is this?
Where's the camera? Is it this one?
All of them. Whichever one. Oh, this one right here. That one.
Boom.
And what is this?
Cheers.
Cheers, my man.
You put this on the table, or we put this on the table. You gave this to us. What is? Can you tell me what this is?
Quick story, because I'm pretty good at making the short story super long, and I have to go back to the last question about Joe because I didn't even finish. I started talking about others. I started talking about random stuff, but basically, it's a non-alcoholic beer that tastes just like beer. But it's a craft beer, so this is an IPA.
Athletic Brewing Company.
So I first learned about it because I went to a concert. I went to go see Beach House.
This tastes really good.
Shout out to Beach House. They're from Baltimore. And
my girl put me on Beach House.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's funny because it's like a lot of people can dig it because it's a vibe, you know? It's like nice. I was working with my dad once, and he works with tile, flooring and stuff like that. I was working with him, helping him out. And it was all dead silent. And I told my dad, is it cool if I put some music or something? And he's like, yeah, that's fine, mijo. And I turn it. I'm like, what should I put? I'm like, maybe something just chill, Beach House. Boom, I put it, and he's all, is this like for like meditation?
Wow,
what is this? And I thought, kind of, yeah. So it's a nice music that just like, it's very relaxing. But yeah, I'm off on the tangent again. So I went to go see Beach House, and so during the pandemic, I quit drinking. I used to drink basically every day because I liked it. It helped me sleep. It helped me with anxiety. But then you get to the point where it's like, oh, now I feel kind of crappy. I feel like I'm waking up like, oh, kind of hazy. What happened? This and that. So during the pandemic, I was working. Yeah. So, you know, especially in the skateboard community, we're kind of like extreme. It's not like, it's like you drink and then you're drinking. It's like either on or off. You know,
there's a lot of parallels with the skateboard community and the comedy community. Yeah. How they all hang out independently and stuff like that. When he's referencing other skaters and stuff, other comics. Yeah. It sounds very similar.
For sure. So you're a comedian.
Yes.
So you're totally correct. Jason Ellis, he's a skater. So the Hawk versus Wolf podcast. So it's Tony Hawk and Jason Ellis. Jason Ellis is like a kind of retired pro skater.
I've seen it. I've watched a few.
Yeah, and so Jason Ellis, he's had his own show, and now he's into like stand-up comedy and stuff like that. And he's talked about this, where it's like the parallel, how you said, is you kind of have to like bomb a bunch of times to get good, and that's kind of like how it is with skating. You're gonna have to eat it a couple times. I was doing a skateboard. What I do like professionally is like a skateboard teacher. I don't like to say coach because I'm not like, hey, jump higher, go faster. Like, let me see it 5 more times. I don't want to be like that. So much pressure. I'm just like, hey, I'm more like a guide. I'm like, hey, try this, try that.
You're very nurturing. You're not
nurturing. I try to I want them to have fun.
That's
or whatever.
Awesome.
But basically he talks about bombing and getting good, getting okay, and getting better. Like, I was talking to my good friend Jim Gray earlier today. So he's also a retired pro skater, but he still skates, but not like at pro level. But he told me something that was really funny and kind of stuck with me. He told me for him, his philosophy on like skating and like whatever he's getting into is suck less. So suck less. So it's not like perfection.
Suck less-ish, all right?
Every day, just it's
you
basically,
hear me, buddy? You need to suck less.
Stop sucking, bro. Stop sucking.
So baby steps.
Catch you in the alley. Stop sucking. All right. No, I'm with you. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. How long have you been skateboarding? Like, how long did it take you to suck as less as you suck now?
I've been skating since, I want to say 98. My cousin was telling me 96.
So what age for our listeners?
I was 12, maybe 11, 12, like just getting into like middle school, I think.
That's cool.
And
so you weren't like 3 years old on a skateboard. No. You found it later in like your middle school years.
So 12 is kind of like average age for like starting to learn how to skate, because it's younger than that, you kind of maybe see and it just doesn't register. If you start at 3 or 4, that's amazing. And that's kind of like a Ryan Sheckler or like a Tony Hawk. I think Tony Hawk started later, but he started fairly young, maybe 7 or 8, I want to say. That's when you have a chance to get super, super good. Because, back to Tony Hawk, he was not a natural. I've listened to numerous interviews about him talking about himself, other people talking about him, and he started and was horrible. Like I think one of his first experiences was like running into a fence and like, you know, busting his teeth out.
Damn.
And then, you know, having a concussion later on and, you know, just failing miserably. But what he has going for him and, you know, still going for him is this tenacity, being so persistent and just like driven that he's unstoppable.
I feel like that's you in a lot of ways, like the inspiration maybe you're taking from him and other people, not only skateboarders, but maybe other people in your life. Like, because when we were started shooting the documentary, there was a weekend where you fell really bad and busted your head. Do you remember that? Not to bring up
no, actually,
messed up times.
Yeah, actually, no, I mean, accidents happen. And I actually talk about it with my students all the time, especially the parents, because sometimes I have little kids and I'm talking, they're kind of like,
looking around.
When are we going to skate?
Yeah.
We want to skate. And I'm talking, because I'm trying to
you try and get them serious with
throw down some wisdom and like learn from me.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell them straight up, like, if you don't,
the classic Mr. Miyagi Karate Kid story.
Yeah. I'm like, if you don't take the lesson from me, your skateboard, the ramp, that's gonna teach you. It's gonna teach you a lesson. And if not, then I don't know what's gonna like. You're gonna learn it somehow.
Yeah. My point is like he busted his head. Like he went to the hospital. I think you had a mild concussion.
Was that your worst injury?
So far, yeah. So that one, I like kind of came to in the ambulance. So basically, what happened?
Jeez, it doesn't get worse than that.
What's the worst injury you've seen? Oh, that I've seen. I've seen some like in person.
Yeah.
Because so I ended up on this Instagram page called Hall of Meat. So like
you did,
yeah.
Oh God.
So
from the fall that we're talking about.
So Thrasher Magazine. Yeah. They used to have this thing on their website called I think I think it started on the website. I maybe not like in the print, but it was on the website where it was usually pro skaters or sponsor skaters falling down like really, really bad, like wicked slams where their bones are popping out and you know chipped teeth, the blood, like those, like oh my God. And those kind of clips go viral because not only do the skaters see it, but then like, you know, everyone, like kind of like that show Ridiculousness.
It's the shock value, man. Just seeing something like that.
Yeah, the shock value. So like it's the kind of thing where like I'm kind of sensitive to that. So if someone sends me, yo, check this out, especially if it says like, you know, click here for parental guidance or whatever.
No, thanks.
I'm like, no, because I love skating so much and I'm not trying to get traumatized.
Yeah.
So but anyway, my clip ended up on there almost like instantly because I was wearing a helmet, elbow pads, and knee pads. But I landed right on my face. So the helmet couldn't save me. And what happened was it was a bail gone wrong. So I didn't plan it out properly. So a bail in skateboarding means you kind of just eject, you abort out the situation. Like, oh, this one's not going to work out. So like in vert skating, like with Tony Hawk, he has these big knee pads and he'll just knee slide. So go in the air, this one's not going to go and knee slide. And that's the way, so you can save yourself for the next try. You don't want to just run it out because you could just twist your ankle or, you know, get hurt like
Makes
that.
Sense.
So it's a way to kind of, like I tell my students, you want to like Jackie Chan out of this situation. You want to stop, drop, and roll.
You fall safe.
You don't want to, if you're going to fall, it's not if
you gotta fall like a ninja.
Yeah, you want to fall forward because it's very hard to roll when you're going backwards. You know, usually you want to fall forward so you can
control it.
Exactly. So what happened to me was I wasn't planning out this bail all the way. I jumped off my board, but this is another thing. I was using like my big pool board, which is like 11 inches wide, so it's made for like skating bowls and half pipe kind of situations where it's really big and stable. But all of a sudden I was at the skate park and I wanted to do this like a wall ride over a bench. So like ride this bank and go up and over this bench and go down, kind of just go over it. Not even a crazy trick, just to like go up the ramp and just clear this bench that's right there. So I did it backside with the help of a ramp. So the speed helped me out. All it is just carving over this obstacle. My girlfriend was filming and it was really hot and she was kind of getting frustrated. Like all of my skaters out there, they know, like all the girlfriends of the skateboarders know how it goes down, where like they become the filmer sometimes.
Wow. Interesting.
Honey, one more time. One more. There's even like there's an Instagram.
Oh, so it's like the reverse. So like earlier today when I was taking pictures of my girlfriend because she wanted me, like y'all are getting you're getting it back for us. I appreciate that.
That was actually one of my questions that I have for you. What is the dating scene like? What is the dating scene like as a skater like that? As a skater that's doing it the way you are?
The dating scene? I don't know. I don't really know.
I think what he's trying to ask is like for a comic, right? It's harder to have a relationship because that's what he's. He's not saying like, hey, like what's the scene? Yeah. I know what he's saying. He's saying like, how hard is it for a skater to be in a relationship?
Yeah.
Well, the girlfriend definitely needs to be into the skateboarding, because if you're like me and you're like hardcore, or like for you, you're like really into like comedy, that's your craft, and I'm sure
he's dating a comic, so it's
so sometimes that's the best scenario where you're both comics, so then you can just like do all that stuff together instead of being like, hey, I'm gonna do this, and then you don't know what they're gonna be doing. Like you can just do it, enjoy it together. So I think that's the best scenario, is when you're both doing it, or at least the other person be interested and like let you do your own thing.
I understand.
Like with my girlfriend, she understands that I'm super into skateboarding and I need to do it basically every single day. So she's not like on me. She gets in. And for the most part, she's very, very supportive. I go to races all over the country for slalom, and she comes with me. And I kind of joke around. I say
that's cool. Awesome. Shout out to Miss Mercury, whoever she is out there. Yeah. Miss Mercury.
She's been called that before.
I'm sure.
Mrs. Mercury.
So I mean,
but back to my slam real quick.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. We go on so many tangents, but it's fine. We bring it back.
That's how we do it.
So the slam that all of my friends have seen, and if they haven't, go look at it.
Link right here.
Because I have not posted it. Not even once.
I don't blame you.
I don't blame you, man.
That's like me. That's like us posting a bomb.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So people like reached out to me. They're like, dude, you made it. You made it to Hall of Meat.
It was like a badge of honor or something.
It's kind of like that. Yeah. I guess so. You know,
I guess that's a part of your living.
I mean, for you not being a vert skateboarder, not doing like those, for you to get on there, I guess is kind of out of the ordinary, right? For your normal style of skateboarding.
Yeah.
Because you do pump. We talked about pump, but you also do slalom, which after your slam, I do want to talk about slalom because that's an interesting part of skateboarding.
Yeah, it's very interesting because my roots are street skating. Street is when you just use like your environment as a skate park. Like the actual street, the curb, the stairs, the rail, it just whatever. It's very accessible. And then I learned bowl skating, which is, transition ramps, and then I got into downhill, then slalom. Now I do long distance push, like endurance. My newest thing is like pump endurance, which is not really a thing, so I'm kind of like pioneering that. I plan to do races. I was asking people, what about this? What about the wheel size? What about that? And they're like, dude, this is kind of like your thing now. So you make the rules. So I'm like, okay. So all of that is amazing. But then it brings me back to that slam. My bell got rung that day. And I want to say I know how to skate. So it's like, oh, I can tell that this is like a testimony to tell all my students to whoever, doesn't matter how long you've been skating, if you're going to bail, you need to bail properly. So this is what I didn't do. It was very hot. I was kind of rushing in the situation. I went up. So now I want to do it front side. But doing it front side, I didn't have a drop in to get the speed. So I had to like run, jump on my board, carve around this rail, and then push and push again. So the entry to get to this ramp was like way more difficult. Just to get to the ramp was a trick in itself because the park was kind of slippery. I was just coming from the other side of the skate park. So finally I go up, and there was this kid up there, and he was like looking at me. So I kind of locked eyes with him for a second.
He looked at you like, I am death.
Yeah. So I lost my focus. He was just kind of staring at me, and I was like, oh, I looked at him, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, this one's not going to work out. So let me just jump off my board. So I went this way, and I thought my board was just going to stay there. I look, and I'm like, where's my board? It rolled down the ramp and just met up with me right underneath me. So and it was sideways. Damn. So my back foot stepped on it. And it was kind of like a banana peel, like stepping on black ice, where I just went, whoop, and went, ow, to my face.
Ouch.
I bounced on the ground and just was like, convulsing.
Oh my God.
And that's the stuff I don't remember because my girlfriend was filming, but then she paused it. But from what I heard, they told me that some random dude came over and put like a knife in my mouth, like the butt of a knife in my mouth, so I wouldn't like bite my tongue.
You were seizuring.
It had seizure.
Holy crap, dude.
Yeah, so very scary. That's the kind of thing where if that was part of the clip, it would go maybe viral or something because it's like, oh my God, this guy is like looking like he's gonna die or something.
Watch, dude.
So that's like the scary part where I'm like, oh my God, like I don't want no one to see that.
No.
Yeah,
so that happened to me. It was so hot that day that like I got a burn on my hand because the cement was super. It was in South Florida, and I was just laying there. So I have like a scar right here just from like the burn.
Just burn.
So I was just laying there like that.
Yo, and that's crazy. The dope part about it is how you were able to turn it into like a teaching moment for a lot of people.
Yeah. Because, I saw it on there. I was like, man, this is crazy. And then it got like 1,000 comments, whatever. I started looking and then I had to stop because a lot of people were saying, oh, he's a pussy. He this and that. He doesn't know how to skate. And I'm like, man, these people are just like, wow.
But you
they're
can't,
like eating me up. They're eating me up.
Someone commented booty juice on one of our videos. We didn't care.
And they're saying like, commit. But it's not about committing. It's about, if you're going to do it, then do it. But you want to prepare. And that's one I wasn't prepared for. I kind of came into it and then I lost my focus. So it's okay to bail, but you want to bail properly so you can try again. That time I went up, let me jump off, but then, there's my board. So you want to be like, like a calculated maneuver.
I think something more broad to even just like, I know you're giving the aspect to this like skateboarders of like the way how to bail, you know what I mean? Or like how to do that safely, right? But I think another aspect of it is just like you got back on your board literally a day or two after, like as soon as you had something that weekend that you had to do. I forget what it was, but you got back on the board not soon after, and you kept like pretty much going until the point you're at now. So I think there's something to say to that, man, about you just. If I get hurt doing the sport, I might not go back and do it.
He said it earlier, man. He mentioned that this is his passion and this is what keeps him going. So
but not only your passion, it's like your identity, right? Like this character that you've created, Shreddie Mercury. You know what I mean?
So today I'm wearing. So whenever I wear this, and I don't wear it very often, I feel kind of like, oh, am I like narcissistic to be kind of like wearing like the picture of myself on my shirt? But it's a shout out to like my friends because this drawing was done by my friend. Bobby Draws Skulls. Cool. So his Instagram is Bobby Draws Skulls, and he's done graphics for Steve Caballero. Have you heard of Steve Cab?
Is he a skater?
Yeah, so he was like teammates with Tony Hawk.
So, okay.
So he's a guy that's super famous also. And we became friends, I think, through Instagram first, and then we met. I worked at SoCal.
I just want to say, when he said, I'm sorry to cut you off, but he said the name. Do you know who Steve is, right?
Steve
Cab. And then I say, is he a skater? Right at that moment, all the skaters watching this just probably want to go reach through and choke me right now. It's like, Michael Jordan, is he a basketball player? I just realized after the fact how dumb I might have said. I don't know anything about skateboarding. That's why I have Shreddie Mercury on to learn and educate us.
I like my position of like people have called me like an ambassador of skating. I'm like, dang, okay, that sounds like whoa, like
that's why I'm bringing.
But that's what I try to do. Like if anyone wants to know about skateboarding, I want to be like a good role model of like make it look good, make it look fun. I'm not the best skater in the world. I don't think anyone can say they're the best skater in the world. But I want to. I'm so inspired by other people like Steve Cab, Tony Hawk. I could name a million people that it's a chain reaction of like I want to inspire you.
Man, that's dope.
Who you do. Since I've known you, I feel like you do. My bad.
I was just gonna say, like, he absolutely does. Like, I mean, just looking over your Instagram page, I see that you're out there with the kids. You're out there teaching people. You're out there doing like this is honestly like probably the most excited I've been to do a podcast because one, it was outside of we've only
Remy's gonna beat the shit out of you.
No, I'm saying it's something outside of comedy, and I really don't know nothing about it. Like outside of that Tony Hawk game and what we talked about, like I'm so blind to it. But it's not like I've always thought it was cool as shit, and I've always got along with skaters. I just never actually got a chance to sit down and have this conversation.
Likewise, that's why I want to go. This is a perfect time. Let's go into slalom because that's a side of skateboarding that I really didn't even know was truly a thing until I met you. You know, like we all know Tony Hawk and Vert and Street and like that world, right? But when we discovered your thing was slalom. You know what that is, Ish?
No, man.
So can you explain to Ish what slalom skateboarding is?
Yeah. The best way I can describe is to show you a picture in this magazine. Can I show you really quick?
Yeah.
Well, you can show the picture, but we have some people that only listen to audio.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
I have
no, that's fine. That's fine. I get it. Okay, so it comes from ski slalom, and that's something you might have seen in the Olympics. But
you don't talk about Ish, right?
But like maybe you just never like kind of paid attention to it. But it's so in skiing they use these kind of poles that they call them gates, and so the skiers, they go down the mountain, the slopes, and they go around it. Okay. And I think like I actually don't know that much about like ski slalom because sometimes they hit it. So I don't know if like in skateboard slalom we use cones, and our objective is to not knock down the cone. Even if you hit it and it moves out of like the circle, then like basically it's down.
And Ish, this is what he's doing. He's like flying down a hill. Have you ever clocked your speed?
All the time.
What's the fastest you've been
what's the fastest?
So I had this app called Strava, which is like for runners and bikers, and it tracks like your course and your distance, and it'll say max speed. So in Rockville, actually, I hit this hill, and it said I went like 60 miles.
60?
Like 65
Holy
miles per hour.
Bro, I was expecting like 25, 26, like.
But it's 60. I've kind of concurred that it's not super accurate. So I'm just gonna say I've gone for sure over 40.
That's fast.
For sure over 40.
40 miles an hour max speed, hypothetically, if we're going to say the other one isn't right. But how many cones total have you done consecutively going into slalom? Have you counted that? Is there a record for that? Have you done that?
There's not a record for like amount of cones, but
that might be your next record.
But that'd be kind of easy though. Like it could just be like on a like long mellow slope and just be.
You know what you gotta do? You gotta shut down Veer's Mill and do that shit down there. You know what I'm talking about?
But yeah, like what's the most cones have you counted that you've done?
So I'm limited with cones, and they're expensive. Every cone is like $3.
You're limited with cones. Hey, if y'all got cones out there, man, just start sending all y'all cones. Look, if you got cones, he needs
Halloween.
Shreddie Mercury.
We'll just jack some pumpkins. Start using pumpkins then the whole.
True. All right, we'll get you some cones. So how many cones have you had max that you've done?
Can I show you a picture?
Yeah, show me the picture and then we'll describe it for our listeners. Because you wanted to talk about this magazine anyway. What is this magazine?
Oh, okay. So this is a magazine hold it up for the camera. I actually like grew up with. It's called Pathways.
Okay.
So in
Pathways,
the best way I can describe
it's a skateboarding magazine.
No.
Whoa. Okay.
So this is kind of like a hippie magazine.
Nice. We're talking. Let's go.
They talk about medicinal cannabis. They talk about Reiki, meditation.
Okay.
Eastern philosophy, all this kind of
You're
stuff.
You're a skateboarding monk this whole time. Now I get it. The wandering yogi. Okay.
There's actually a skater named Steve Olson, and he's a rapper, and his rap name is Crazy Monk.
Crazy
Monk. He is awesome.
He's into all this too.
Yeah.
So what do you want to show me?
What's that picture in there?
So
I'm gonna go through that at once.
So thank you, Michelle. She gave me the lead article. I met her at
typical Michelle
at one of their conferences or conventions in Silver Spring, where we're at right now. And she gave me the lead article because she thought,
oh, that's
you're in this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So right here, I don't know which camera can see it the best, but right here I'm going around the cones. But these are regular traffic cones. So these are heavy and these are meant to like not fall down.
Yeah.
So if you hit one of these, the base has like the base
weighted.
Has like weighted and it has like a rubber, so it's meant to grip. So the old schoolers, they call these death cones. Because if you hit this one, the cone's not going to fall over.
You're going to get fucked up.
Or you're going down. Yeah. So this is really cool. This was at the Rockville Skate Jam. This was the second annual. You were at the first one.
We went to the first one.
This is the second one. And I have friends from the 70s who started doing slalom when it was like basically brand new. And my goal was to get this photo because I brought my cones, but then I saw the regular ones and I'm like, hey, can I use these? And I moved them into the street. And so my goal was to show the old schoolers like, hey, check it out. And a few of my friends, they were like, wow, we haven't seen this since the 70s. And so that makes me super happy because I am super into the history of skateboarding. And I see myself as like a conduit of sorts of like keeping that spirit alive, the purity of skating, but also the evolvement to push it above and beyond. I would love to see it in the Olympics because like I mentioned, ski slalom has been in there. I haven't done the research, but it's probably been in the Olympics since the beginning, I want to say.
Is that because there's not enough people doing it?
Yeah.
Like
So like skateboarding is now in the Olympics, but it's only park and vert. And I actually got to ask Tony Hawk in person, hey, do you think slalom skateboarding will make it into Olympics? And he was like, very quickly, like instantly he told me vert needs to be in there first. And I was like, I should have known he was going to say that because that's what he does.
Yeah.
He's 55 now, but I know for sure if they're like, yo, Tony, vert's in there. You want to like be part of it? He's going to be like, yes. Because that's history. And he's the kind of guy that he's relentless. he broke his femur recently. He was skating like not too long after. He was like doing all kinds of stuff, and everyone was telling him, Tony, relax. And he's kind of too gung ho. He had to get a surgery done again.
Skaters were our rebels, like for our era, right?
We're kind of stubborn in a way it works out for us. That's why, like when I teach skating, I tell my students, if you like skating and you stick with it, that's good, because that means you're okay with not getting stuff first try. It becomes frustrating, but you know, I have a little student. He's 6 years old, and I tell him whenever he says this is hard, I'll tell him straight up, it's not hard, it's a challenge. And then the next time I saw him, he straight up told me, it's not hard, it's a challenge. A little kid, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. And I thought, yes.
That's cool because
then you can look at life like that, because you know, learning how to drive a car, or learning how to drive.
We need to get you a monk suit so he can just skateboard in his monk suit, because you're very holistic in your approach to like life.
No, I was gonna say, like, one of the questions I had for him was that I know he teaches a lot of kids and stuff, and I was gonna ask him, like, okay, in team sports, usually you have transferable skills. You learn how to team building activities and things like that, how to like transfer them as an adult. He's laying out a whole different format. Like, yo, skating, that's a hell of a transferable skill from there. Like,
you're making the parallels in your own way.
To have a plan, to stay focused. So like with my lessons, sometimes like I get kind of caught into explaining, trying to make analogies and comparisons and paint pictures and all this kind of stuff. And with my younger students, like I said earlier,
they're like, are we gonna skate, dude?
A minute into it, they're just looking at, they're like, oh, look, the cloud looks like a rabbit.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
no, but you're doing the right thing. You're placing those seeds, and you're doing it the right way, man. It's something special. Where does this come from? Like, okay, this being such your identity, you know what I mean? Who you are, like, as a skater, right? You discovered it at 12. So I guess the two questions I would have is, like, who were you before skateboarding? And then if you weren't skateboarding, what would you be doing? Like, if you take skateboarding away from, you know, Shreddie, who, like, before 12, like, what was life like before you discovered a skateboard? Like, what was your passion?
Yeah, that's
what was
a good question, and I think about it a lot. I feel like my life started at 12. You know, I found skating, and I thought, I think I can do this. And that's my goal for like my students, to kind of be able to grab onto something and just stick with it.
Who was your teacher?
My friends that I got to meet, they in a way taught me. Like, it's not like they just straight up schooled me. Like, I never like paid money to be like, yo, teach me how to kickflip or whatever. I taught myself a lot by watching all the videos, and you know, before slow motion so you guys know what I'm talking about. The VCR.
We're all the same age.
Using the pause button and just going pause.
Yo, that's crazy.
That's crazy. It's kind of the bars. So before slow motion on the control, pause. I remember when slow motion came out, and I was like, this is dope. Pause, and just frame by frame. So my old school friends, they learned from the magazines, frame by frame before video. So I can say, oh, I'm old school, whatever, but no, there's the old timers that learn from pictures. What the heck is going on here?
You introduced me to one of the old school guys. You saying
Tony Alter.
Tony Alter.
I was hanging out with him yesterday.
Maybe one day we'll be blessed to have him on here to talk to him, because he's like a he like studies like to fight against Alzheimer's and all that stuff, but he's an old school skateboarder too. And he was telling me stories about how they used to like skate the tunnels under UCLA or something like that. There's some interesting stories. But my bad, we're getting on a tangent. Who is Shreddie before 12? I need to know this.
Yeah, so, you know, like any other kid, like you experiment with different sports. I did like t-ball or whatever, and like, you know, rec basketball, like whatever my friends doing, let me try. But I never really liked that kind of like, not that I'm not a team player or something, but I don't want to rely on other people in the game or them rely on me. Like, you know, if they pass me the ball and I go to shoot it, boom, and it just breaks.
It's like MMA fighters or any fighter. Kind of, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
like, it's kind of like you're going your own individual skill, and you kind of like. So
now that I think about it, you know, I gravitated towards more like I got into golf.
Oh, okay.
I got into tennis because that's similar. It's more individual.
Interesting.
It's more like it's on you. It's not like, hey, pass me the ball or let me pass it to you. It's just like, this is my thing, and I could just hone in on what I'm doing. I want to say like golf is now like probably the newest like trendy thing with skaters. Eric Costin.
Oh, not pickleball?
Pickleball. I don't think so, but I know. But I know that is trending. I have a video of like I'm at the skate park at the Olney Manor skate park, and there's a mom and her 2 kids playing pickleball in the skate park. And I thought, this is really something.
Interesting.
Because usually it's the other way around where, like, you know, maybe skaters are in the tennis court.
Oh, they're taking over y'all stuff now.
Yeah.
Y'all used to take over their place.
The other day, like, the skate park was kind of wet. And then I thought, like, instead of, like, canceling the session, I was like, let's go. Like, there's one tennis court in the deep corner that's, like, kind of, like, old. It has cracks and it's dirty. Let's go skate over there. And there's trees. I think it might be dry just so we can do some flat ground lesson there. So I set up my cones and I'm doing my thing. And this old guy, he drives up and stops and he's staring. And I see him. I'm like, hey, what's up? And he goes, no skateboarding. No skateboarding.
But that's like, you get that. I mean, that's like a thing, right? Like that's.
Yeah. So
like,
I get it. But I'm like, dude, like we're not, no one's here. We're not going to mess up anything. We're not even like picking our wheels up.
That
off
is
the
interesting.
ground.
They treat you guys like lepers. Right? Like everybody like, get out of here.
It's like weed smokers.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I just started waving at him.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the type of guy to argue. I'm more.
I can't imagine Shreddie flipping out on somebody.
For
probably
me,
turn like
if
into the
anything
Hulk if you
happens,
get
like,
mad.
you know,
he probably still smiles, but his eyes just get wider. You know what I mean? That's why I imagine Shreddie mad.
Yeah. I like to be more alone. You know, in California, I had a lot of like roommate situations. And so sometimes stuff would go down where I'm like, I want to scream at this guy.
Deep breath.
But I have to just.
Well, let's talk about Cali for a second.
I would just rather leave and then come back and be like, hey, can we talk? And then, can you please not bang on my door? Because I was having a good sleep. So that's how I am. Oh, my bad.
The way you calmly did that is more scarier. Like you did like Christopher Walken, like a very intense calm.
Yeah, because for me, like if something happens, I kind of almost.
I feel nervous right now. For some reason.
I break down, and I'm like, even with like crying, sometimes like I don't like to cry, and so instead, like I remember one time as a kid, I was like butt boarding, like sitting on my board going down a hill, and then I put my hand underneath, and the wheel ran over my finger.
Oh shit!
And then my nail fell off, like it got purple and fell off. Ooh. And so I was with my homies, I was with the friends, and then I was like, I'll be back. And so I just like ran inside. I went to the bathroom and I'm just like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. And it's like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, oh my God.
So hold on.
So I was trying to not cry because I felt like crying. I was like, keep it in.
Your nail grew back?
I'm like, be strong, be strong. So I went in the bathroom and then I fainted.
Oh.
Yeah, you might as well cry, bro.
Yeah, you might as well cry,
so
bro.
I'll
cry to drop a dime right now, bro.
I don't give a fuck. I'm going to cry for you right now, bro.
Y'all see my nail come off right
man,
now.
What the fuck?
I'm going to start screaming, bro.
That's it.
So
one of y'all better carry me to the hospital. I don't care if it's just my finger.
I might have fainted on spot, bro.
So that's kind of like how I am. Like, I'd rather not freak out. I'd be like, let me leave or let me just try to like.
So, but I feel like all this is speaking to you having a very like special personality. Like you have a very holistic approach to life, a holistic approach to skateboarding. You have this idea of like this individualism when you look at how you want to do things, kind of like in a weird way, it's just you putting pressure on yourself. You know what I mean? It's like you want to be your own kind of fuel and your own critic, which is stand up in a lot of ways too. You know what I mean? And I guess I want to get into more of the, and we'll bring it back to skateboarding because I know you got to leave and we still got like 20 minutes. So we're good. Yeah, we still got 20 minutes. But before you leave, I definitely want us to talk about the skateboard, but I want to know more about who is Shreddie, like mind-wise, when it comes, because like you pulled up a magazine. I thought it was a skateboard magazine. You said it was a hippie magazine.
I've been in skateboard magazines, but this means more to me.
But
they have never mentioned skateboarding, and it's from the 80s. So
wow,
they've never mentioned skateboarding. It's like why? But then I gave them the why because of what you're saying. It's holistic.
My question
it helps my life.
My question is like, where are your thoughts into like these things about like intent, spirituality? Like I'm not asking like your religion. I'm just saying like you clearly have a like your own perspective on like approach when it comes to mental stuff. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like how do you cultivate that? What is that? Like you're not taking mushrooms right now. You know what I mean? Like where is that coming from?
You mentioned meditation. You mentioned those things.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. It's like what, you know what I mean? Do you live in a monastery? Like what is going on?
He keeps calling you a monk. Like you clearly do. Like
I mean, he shaved his head before this interview. Looks great, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Like Pedro, I got hot. I think he said something like, he said, I got hot.
Yeah.
But ever since I was little, I've always been very curious. I mean, that's kind of normal. But I have a vivid memory of going to church. So I grew up going to like a Catholic church and then Christian church. And I remember growing up in like, Roman Catholic kind of church, the stained glass windows, and very like you're gonna go to hell if you don't do this, and and then you get to go to heaven if you do this. And I was like just very confused with like all the Jesus and this and all. I was like, wow, but I was forced into it basically. So I wish I had a chance to kind of pick what I wanted to. There is a lot of good stuff in the Bible. There's a lot of bad stuff too.
And I'm not trying to make this religious. I just was like,
no, but I'm just explaining. This is my story. So of getting into religion and seeing the good stuff, but then at the same time, like I don't want to be like, on Team Jesus, where it's like, if you're with Jesus, you're good, and if not, let me talk to you about Jesus. Like I'm more into like spirituality, where it's more Unitarian, where it's all good. I like to get along with everyone, and I don't want to be like, you're Jew and I'm not Jew. We got issues and blah 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 blah. Like I don't want to look down, because what can happen is you become like a spiritual elitist, where you're like, I see you're Buddhist, but let me talk to you about Jesus. So I had this memory of like learning about Adam and Eve and about how they had this perfect utopian lifestyle, and they were walking around naked and just eating fruits off the tree, and it was all good, just like this paradise. And I thought, that's cool. And then it got to the point where then they ate the forbidden apple or whatever, and then they had to put on clothes and go to work and stuff. And I was so
go to work and stuff.
You have to like
put on clothes and go to work.
You got to make money.
Yeah.
You got to buy a house. You can't just have a sick little teepee.
It's a wild jump, but
yeah. So I'm like, I like that utopian. I'm like, live off the land and everything organic. I thought that's rad. But then all of a sudden they messed it up, and I was so mad. I thought they messed up. They ruined it for me. I was so mad.
Dude, you have the most interesting perspective. You're blaming all this on Adam and Eve, essentially.
So I thought, man,
this is crazy. Okay,
they went to work.
So I was like, I just want to like live life and not have to clock in, clock out. So that's kind of like what I do with skateboarding. Like I get to teach.
You're speaking to so many people right now.
So I get to do. So like I love Bob Dylan. I love Bob Dylan. I like Meek Mill. I like Jay-Z. I like Bob Dylan. I like Bad Brains. I pick all the stuff that I like. I'm into all different kind of.
You like what you like.
I'm the same way.
But it's an energy thing. It's whatever. Like I feel like the good
frequency.
I'm not going to listen to music that makes me feel like angry or mad. You know, like or like scared. I like music that pumps me up. And sometimes it's not even the lyrics. It's just like the beat. It's like like on the way here, I was listening to 21 Savage.
Okay.
I don't like his lyrics, but the vibe is like
get you going.
Anga 21.
I like 21.
So that's like kind of like skating, where like let's do it, and someone says no, and you're like let me show you something. It's like they put the knob on the rail, let me ollie over the knob, grind the rest of the rail, I'm out. And that's a skater mentality. It's like you can't stop me. We're gonna do it whether you like it or not. And that sometimes turns out bad, because then flip off the guy, and then skaters are punk ass people, and they break in this and that. Stay in the skate park. So you got to pick and choose how you act. But I like the attitude of like, I'm unstoppable. You can say whatever you want. You can put the blockade. I'm gonna go above and beyond or underneath. We're getting there. We're getting it. Like
I love that.
There's a brand called Shake Junt, and they say get there while you can.
What's it called?
Shake Junt.
Shake Jump?
Shake Junt.
Shake Junt.
Which is kind of funny because it's like a slang from like a Memphis like 3-6 Mafia, where it's like a strip club. The Shake Junt. So instead of joint, they say Junt. Shake Junt. I think it comes from that Red Rum song from Project Pat.
Jesus, how much? This guy's a hip hop encyclopedia.
I grew up with hip hop, so like
all the savage stuff. Huh? But speaking of Memphis, like you travel around quite a bit.
I try.
You know what I mean? We were talking about Cali and everywhere. Like, have you gone out of the country and done?
Not yet. I used to work with a company called 411 Video Magazine, and that's where I became like even more of a skateboard encyclopedia because I've worked with pro skaters. There was a guy, Salman Aga, who was Skater of the Year at one point, and he started a company called Skatebook, which was like a skate magazine, but in like coffee table book style. And I remember like talking to him, and like within like seconds, he was telling me like, dude, you're like a skateboard encyclopedia. Because like he's a pro skater, but he was just doing the skating. For me, I'm every day reading all the I know sometimes it's trippy because I'll meet pro skaters and I'm like, they have no idea I know their whole life and they have no idea who I am.
That's crazy.
But I know their whole life. Like P-Rod. Do you guys know Paul Rodriguez?
No.
Do you know the actor Paul Rodriguez?
The comedian?
Yeah. So P-Rod, as he's known as, is Paul Rodriguez Sr. That's his son. So, so now P-Rod is more famous than the comedian. I want to say, but you guys don't know him, but I think he is actually. He has 10 shoes on Nike.
Oh, wow.
So P-Rod, if you Google him, he made Nike skateboarding legit because Nike came in and they tried and it didn't work out. It was like, oh, you're corporate, didn't work out. And then they got P-Rod, they gave him a shoe, and then everyone was like, oh, this is like pretty dope. That's helped him out because he was like up and coming. He was like at the point where like he was hot, on fire, and he took Nike to the next step. To now Nike is so in. There's a lot of like sneakerheads that get the SBs, and I'll ask them, you know what SB stands for? And they're like, oh, it means skateboarding. They don't even know. They're just like,
did you know that?
They got 15 pairs of the SBs. Oh, SB dunks, SB. I'm like, do you even know what SB stands for? And that's why skateboarders have really changed fashion. They've changed a lot of stuff. You look at
look at
Pharrell,
Lil Wayne,
Lil Wayne.
Pharrell
I'm gonna put this on the record. I'm gonna say I'm the first skater to skate to Lil Wayne. I'll just put that out there.
Whoa, that's
do some research. It wasn't in like a big.
That's big, dude. That was a crazy thing you just said. What did you just say?
Okay, so before Lil Wayne even probably knew about skateboarding, this was like maybe like in 04, 05. I was just graduating high school. So like I said, I grew up with hip hop. You know, Cash Money Millionaires. I remember before Bling Bling, like the little Wayne. You know, when he was like little.
The block is hot. The block is hot.
The block is hot. You know,
wobbity wop.
Yeah.
Drop it like it's hot. All that.
All that. Like I remember like learning about Lil Wayne and all like BG and Big Timers and all that kind of stuff. So, I made a little homie video. So it's just like the friends. I grew up in Gaithersburg, went to Prince George High School, and shout out to Logic.
Okay,
he's a neighborhood friend. He's a couple years younger than me. I would see him around. I remember he gave. I want to say the memory's kind of hazy because it's so long ago, but I want to say he gave me one of his mixtapes. And that's when he went.
So Logic gave you the Lil Wayne mixtape.
No. His own.
Okay, I was about to say this is.
So I'm going off on another tangent, but this is funny though because he was like, "Yo, check it out." And then this is when he went by the name Young Sinatra.
Okay.
So this was like a long time ago, maybe like 02 or something like that. And I looked at it and I threw it away.
Damn.
Which is weird because I love hip hop, but I don't know. I just thought like it's like the little kid.
Yeah, fuck this kid. Yeah.
I don't know. Or maybe I didn't straight up toss it, but like I just didn't.
You got lost.
I'm like I'll listen to it eventually. I just put it there. I don't know what happened.
Like anyone that gives you a CD.
And now look at him. This dude's like super famous, and he still skates.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
Cool.
Like he has his own mini ramp. He's awesome. So big ups to Logic. I'm so proud of him. Wale went to my high school too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that he talks about Moco. That's so sick. Because a lot of like people that come from Maryland, all of a sudden.
So Wale gave you the Lil Wayne CD.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get to the Lil Wayne CD.
Okay, so Lil Wayne, shout out to BET. So I grew up watching BET.
Okay.
Black Entertainment.
Yeah, no, I know. When you said shout out to BET, I was thinking of a person.
Because if you know BET, then
of course, dude. BET Uncut, dude.
Yeah, Rap City, the Basement.
Big T.
So,
Big T in the basement.
So I liked his music, and now I can't remember what song it was, but I think it's called "Where You At" from Lil Wayne. I put it because usually in a skateboard video you can pick your own music. Nowadays it's like the copyrights and stuff. You can't just pick whatever song,
right?
Because in the money. But this was like right when YouTube started, and I'm like, I'm gonna use a Lil Wayne song, just because like it's like what I liked at the time.
So this is documented.
It's on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.
So
with a date. Okay.
Yeah.
And some psycho researcher out there can figure it out.
Let them dig through that.
So then fast forward, I don't know how many years, 10 years, 15 years. Then he gets into skating. He still skates. He was on Tony Hawk's podcast
I just
recently,
saw that.
And he's like a diehard skater, and which is amazing because you know, look at Pharrell. He changed his name at one point to Skateboard P.
True.
Yeah. Then that lasted like
who did the song
a month
Kick
or something.
Push?
Lupe Fiasco.
Lupe.
Yeah.
Another guy that was kind of like what do you call it? Culture vulture. So I know that's kind of a strong claim. Like I don't know him, but that was kind of like.
Oh, that was the sentiment.
I don't know. Like I don't think he skates anymore. It was just like, oh, it's cool. Hop in, hop out.
That's a good point.
Lil Wayne is still skating, so that's
true.
Super amazing. So
yeah.
I'm happy to say I skated to Lil Wayne, and you can say whatever you want about Lil Wayne, but he innovated so much. You know, if there was no Lil Wayne, there'd be probably no Drake, and people love Drake.
Yeah, that's true.
You got a great point with that. So you're an encyclopedia of skateboarding. You're an encyclopedia of
quote unquote.
All this is. I'm just putting it on you. You don't have to run with it.
Skate
nerd. You're a old school rap nerd. Well, it's old. I can't call it old school, but you know,
rap encyclopedia.
Yeah, you have a good. You said BG. I didn't even think you knew who BG was.
BG. No, and people say, well, "What's up with the bandana?" I say, "Protect your neck like Wu-Tang."
Do you have problems when you go to LA with all the blue?
No, not at all.
Because the look, the blue.
I was going.
No, I was like, "Hey, where you from, cuz?"
I was going to ask him something just off some, you know, to tie it into the show.
No, I've had people ask me, "Hey, are you a Crip?" And I said, "No, I just like blue." And so, why? I had people actually ask me, and I'm like, I haven't really thought about it. But it's kind of like, it almost has become like a brand.
It's a trademark thing.
Yeah, trademark. Yeah. It makes me in a short version of it. It just, I like it. It makes me feel good. Like when my parents got divorced and I moved to my dad's house in Rockville, my dad was like, okay, this is your other room now. You can decorate it. So I'm like, I painted the walls blue because then it made me feel happy.
So you've been on blue for a long time.
Since birth.
Yo, Snoop Dogg wants to hug you right now.
So usually people talk about blue as like, oh, got the blue is sad. So for me, it's like a happy blue. It's like an energy thing. So I go back to energy.
That's awesome.
The one book that changed my life was called The Celestine Prophecy. And it talks about the power struggle. Because if you really think about it, we're always trying to gain some kind of power. And with skateboarding, it's self-empowering. Because if you look at bullies, if you look at, people that bring other people down, is because they're trying to bring themselves up.
True.
And that's taking power from someone else, being, playing the victim. All this, it's all power struggle, this and that, being manipulative. It's all, you're trying to gain this power. And this book is really awesome because it's like a story, but it's teaching you different ways of like how you gain this power. And I think like the best way to gain this power is through your own doing. So meditation, self-care, doing something physical, something that you enjoy, and not off of other people, not off of like fame, not off of, like you shouldn't base your happiness on like, oh, I got 1,000 likes or I got a picture with this guy or whatever, the selfies and all that kind of stuff. It should just come from within.
Damn. No, that dude, that was very profound. We got like 10 minutes left, and I feel like that kind of encompassed a lot of what we were talking about, trying to get to like what is the ethos of Shreddie Mercury. But before we leave, I want to talk about, Ish has a question first, and I think I want to talk about the skateboard before you leave. I definitely want to put that up, but Ish,
I just want to make sure we get this in, just to tie into the show. Like you talked a lot about your skateboard. Just personally, just to tie it back into Did You Order, what is your favorite food to order when you order something?
Favorite food?
Like what's your go-to order?
Long day of skateboarding. You know what I mean? You're getting home like, damn, man.
You can't cook nothing.
I hate Adam and Eve. And you're like, what do I want to eat? You know what I mean?
Like, what are you going to?
This is kind of like a cliche answer for like skaters, but I love pizza.
Okay.
Is that what's funny, skater food? Pizza?
Yeah, pizza and beer. And that's why.
Hold on.
So shout out to
You're
Athletic.
a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
Master Splinter.
Yeah.
He's Master Splinter.
I was gonna say Michelangelo.
No, I like Leonardo.
I'm Master Splinter.
Oh, Leo.
Look at my face. I'm Splinter.
He's Leo.
Leonardo
with the blue.
So I'm happy.
He's already thought of this.
Yeah, I have.
He's already thought of this. Yo, that's
pull that skateboard up.
So
man.
You know how the kids are now? They're obsessed with Pokemon or whatever else. Yeah. I was as a kid. Obsessed with Ninja Turtles.
Dude, hold on. You guys know what I'm talking about. Don't even do it right now. We're going to have to go for another hour. Man, that's for the next time you come on.
Yeah, I was literally going to say on the end of this, man.
We're the same age, so that's why for us.
You're coming back, bro. You're definitely coming back. Nah, man, we're going to have that conversation.
I had a birthday party where it was like Ninja Turtles.
Me too, bro. My birthday party was this shit.
My birthday coming up. I want to have a Ninja Turtles birthday party. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's up?
To this day, one of my favorite movies, man. All right, the very first Ninja Turtle movies that came out, the one that man, what the fuck was it? It was like, I forget what year it came out. I think it was like 91 or 92.
The first one.
The first two or three. That hasn't been redone since. The other ones they did after that shit was bullshit, man.
You don't leave those alone. Nobody touch those. Don't redo any of that. That is for us.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
That's the dopest shit, man.
Put the skateboard, man. Let's talk about
the cartoon was so dope, man.
Because how long have you had this thing? Put it up between you guys and just prop it up between you guys. Yeah.
So what's super funny about this is like the point makes it look kind of dangerous. This is what we call a punk point because it looks kind of aggressive. In slalom, it's supposed to be more like punk. Sorry,
punk. Oh, okay.
So it looks kind of dangerous. So it kind of reminds me of I was trying to bring it on the airplane recently.
Oh.
And so I was checking in. I gave the lady my ticket. I had the skateboard strapped to my backpack, and she's like, she saw it. And I'm like, she saw it? Okay. So we're good. I'm entering the plane, and I'm like, okay, cool. Because, sometimes they have an issue with the skateboard. It's like doesn't fit or whatever. But, the loophole is for a lot of airlines, if it's strapped to your backpack, you're good. So I'm like, sick. I'm in the airplane. I'm about to enter the airplane, and it's like an old lady stewardess or whatever you call it.
Lean it back between you guys. Yeah.
But even the grip tip is kind of dangerous because it's coarse. It's almost like sandpaper, like extra coarse. It could the first time I got it gripped, shout out to Brad Jackman, a legendary slalom pro. He gripped it for me. Actually, he gripped another one, but I remember he told me, "Oh, dude, Shreddie, your grip tape cut my leg," and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry."
So the grip is actually a weapon on the plane, is what you're trying to say as well, right?
The whole thing. So
you would just rub it across someone's face, and it's just over.
It's like glass. So anyway, so the lady, so I'm about to enter. I'm like stepping onto the airplane, and she's like, "Oh no." I'm like, what? And she's like, she sees the tip of it, and she's like, "You can't bring it on here."
Whoa.
No, not at all. I'm like, what? They let me in here. What's up? So you need to train your people then, because why did she let me into the, And she's like, no. Because one time this guy had the skateboard and there was turbulence.
She made that shit up. She made that.
And then the door opened up and it fell out and the skateboard, boom, popped someone in the head.
All right, come on now.
What, to stab him?
That's ridiculous. That sounds ridiculous.
So she's like, that's a weapon. So like,
you got stabbed with a skateboard?
So part of me was like, when she said weapon, I'm kind of like feeling a little bit badass. I'm like, yeah, I got the weapon. Yes, this is a weapon. But then I'm like, oh, you're killing me. So I had to leave and then have it checked in. And then I missed my flight.
Of course, man.
So it was horrible. And what sucks is that like, if I'm going to a race, this is my board. I can't just go to the Zoomies and buy this one.
Yeah.
This is all from Skate Kings. It's like
what's some of the some of those graphics?
This is the Lynn Kramer. So she is a world champion for women's slalom.
Whoa.
And what's amazing is that I got to meet her, and I have a vivid memory of being in a contest with her where we were doing like flat ground slalom. So this is more like instead of going down a hill and having the hill for your speed, you're just taking 3 pushes and then generating speed by pumping. So this is more of like instead of a transition, you're pumping with your legs and you're carving with your toes and heels. So you're going down with your toes and up with your heels. So you're like, and you're generating the speed out of the flat ground. So this is very like a specialized thing.
Yeah.
And so I remember we had this contest in Santa Ana, I think it was, and I did really good. Lynn Kramer looks at me in like total shock, and she goes, "Shreddie, how did you learn how to skate like this?" And I'm like, "Oh," and I just pointed to Scott Hoster, who taught me. So he's also like a legend. He used to skate for Pepsi when Pepsi had a skateboard team. And so I was like, whoa, I got caught off guard. I was like, Scott taught me. And she's like, wow. And then I got 3rd place in that contest.
That's
And
sick.
So she gave you the board?
I bought it from the website,
Okay.
but she has seen it, and I was about to ask her to sign it, but now I don't like autographs because I feel like that's like a little kid thing to do. Autographs.
Nah, man, little Kramer, man.
But
I
like to get a picture with. I like the pictures because it's like a memory. If I have just someone's name scribbled, I've done more personal. I've done autographs, which is kind of strange. Like, hey, Shreddie, can you sign my shirt? And I'm like, I feel strange by doing it. I'm like, you don't need this, you know. Like, I'm not that famous that you can like put this on eBay or something
you're so
like that.
Modest,
so
man.
then I'm like, let's take a picture or something because I'm like, you don't like I'm messing up your board, like scribbling on it. Like, let me give you a sticker or something. But anyway, she is the best in women's slalom. She's a huge inspiration. And now we're on the same team.
Oh, really?
My other board that I didn't bring, so I have two. The other one, I got to buy it. So it's thanks to Scott Hostert. He told me, so like when I first started slalom, I didn't have the specialized board. He let me borrow his, and he told me, you need your own slalom setup, rig, they call it. You need your own rig. And I thought, yeah, I do. But it was like pretty expensive. So then later on, he told me, hey, this guy, Henry Hester, he's selling his old board. It wasn't like from the vintage days or anything, but just one of these boards, Skate Kings, that he just had and like didn't use it that much. He's way, way older now. He's like probably like 70 something, maybe late 60s. And so he was selling his board through Facebook. So Scott sent me the link. He's like, hey, Henry's selling his old rig. It's a good deal. This is perfect for you. I thought, boom. Perfect. I emailed him through PayPal. So
you're saying this board, the other board is another Legends board as well.
Okay, so the other one is not, he's not even just a legend. This guy is like Michael Jordan of slalom. So it's a very like sword in the stone kind of story.
Dude,
where my first ever slalom board was from like the Michael Jordan. And I didn't know at the time. And now I'm like, oh my God.
This is all meant for your future, man. I feel like, and they're telling me you got to go in a second. So I just want to get this out. I feel like you're telling us like a coming of age story, you know what I mean? And to see where you go from now to like, cause you're just getting started, to be honest.
I feel
you know
like
what
that.
I mean? Like, it feels like I've been watching
awesome,
you put in work, but like you have, no pun intended, but this momentum right now. Like you were just on Fox 5 this past week. You broke 50 miles.
But my thing is, sorry to interrupt, but this is something I want to put out there. It's not like, because sometimes I'll read all the magazine articles and it's like, oh, so-and-so had this like magical career where, oh, their next door neighbor was this guy and they went to school with this woman and it all just kind of happened naturally. I never had that. And sometimes that's cool if it happens like that. But for me, with slalom, it has happened kind of naturally, but I would have never been in that position if I didn't like put myself there. I went to Quince Orchard High School. After that, I didn't want to go to college because I didn't want to do like just the normal. I didn't want to.
You didn't want to work.
You don't fall into, you didn't want to go down that path. I got you.
I don't want to be like just like the average thing. Oh, Montgomery College or Maryland University or whatever. I want to just do my own thing. I like being different. I like living life on my own terms. So I thought I actually went to this school in Iowa in the middle of nowhere called the Maharishi University of Management.
Man, you would do some shit like that.
That was at that time. I wanted to be a monk, basically. To be
you
a
went
monk.
to the Taj Mahal at school.
So like this tattoo I have, this is actually the logo of a school in DC called the National School of Spiritual Science.
That's what's up, man.
So if
I feel like we just getting started. You're definitely coming back.
If I would have finished this like certification or like associate's degree, I would have been like a Unitarian priest.
That's pretty sick.
So at the time, that's what I wanted to do. But then I thought, nah, I'm too young for that. I want to live my life, and then maybe I don't know.
But you're doing it still.
Kind of in my own way.
You're doing exactly what you would have wanted to achieve doing that in your own way. You're literally marching to the beat of your own drum, still spreading that good vibes and spreading like these ideologies of just being the best person you can be for yourself.
Yeah, but
like
also,
you're doing that right now.
Like, back to my point was like, you don't expect things to just happen for you. You gotta put yourself. You gotta just go for it. Like right before I moved to California, I was watching this movie in the theater, The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith.
Oh shit!
Great movie.
And there's one part that I started crying in the theater.
I knew it.
But like I was like tearing. I was like, don't cry.
Just one single Native American tear.
You gotta hold in. You sit there blinking fast and shit.
But there's one point where he tells his son, he said, Don't ever let anyone tell you can't do what you want to do.
You almost did that in a Spanish accent.
I was just like, I was right about to move to California. What did he tell
us, son?
It's like, whatever you want to do. It's something like, if you want something bad enough, reach out and grab it. You know, like basically just do it. Like whatever you got to do. So I was like right about to move to California. I didn't know anyone living in California. So my whole California story, that's a whole another 2 hours of like, I lived on this girl's couch through Craigslist.
Oh, we'll bring it back.
I showed up at 10 p.m. and she's like, I'm like, I'm the guy from Craigslist. She's like, the couch is there. I'll talk to you in the morning. I was like, all right, go to sleep. So like,
she just let a stranger just crash on the
Craigslist
couch.
day. So I don't know if people use Craigslist anymore.
All right, man.
But
There's. It's. I know you got a hard stop at 6, man. So we gotta.
So if you want something,
go get it.
If you want something,
whatever it is in life that you want, reach out for it and grab it. Don't let nobody stop you.
Wise words from the great and lovable, amazing, powerful Shreddie Mercury.
Man,
we're gonna watch you keep rolling, man.
Dope, man.
You're awesome. What's your IG?
So it's Shreddie_Mercury_. The whole thing got taken by someone else. That's like a not even like the biker or something.
Okay, so Shreddie_Mercury.
Yeah, and you spell it. One of my friends, Tracy, who does like extreme wheelchair, she told me one day, we're in Venice Beach, and she tells me, Shreddie, you know, the way you spell your name is actually really cool because it's shred and die put together. Because a lot of people spell my name with a Y, and there's actually a big name brand called Shreddie with a Y, and people always tag me, look at this, and I'm like, oh, that's just some kind of bro thing.
That's Shreddie with a die.
But shred, die, and then my website is shreddiemercury.com, but spelled I-E like shred and die.
You guys follow him, watch his amazing journey. I know he's just getting started. You have more races and world championships.
Yeah, next month is my world championship, my first ever world championship race.
October. September.
Wow.
We're in September now.
Wow. This month.
So what date is it?
The 29th into October. So it's the last week.
Okay, so
weekend.
the 29th. This will come out before then.
We'll try to get him.
We'll bring him on after.
My goal, I'll put this out there because I'm all about manifesting whatever you want. Not even like just reach and grab it, but tell the world what you want to do.
Yeah.
Be careful with who you tell. I don't know. I'm kind of like going out there on a limb, but my goal at this world championship is to podium for amateurs.
Nice.
I've done I've put myself as pro. I've leveled up with pros before with slalom. It's a way smaller demographic than like Parker Street, but my goal is to podium for amateur at Worlds and then to go pro. So I need that pressure. When I went to the cryo lab the other day, they put the song "Under Pressure" from Queen.
Yeah, it's a great song.
And then I thought, that's my song. I don't know if they picked it on purpose or what.
Vanilla Ice stole it.
But it's all good. I need that pressure because then.
All right. Well, here's more pressure. Next time he'll be on, we'll be the world champions. Shreddie Mercury.
For amateurs.
Man, we learned so much here today. I appreciate you.
Man,
the most important thing we learned is stop sucking. All right, guys.
Cool.